Hello and welcome. Today's review is on the Einhell TC-US 400 bench sander. So this is basically two tools in one because it's a disc sander and a belt sander. In case you're wondering on my opinion on the Einhell brand, I really have no experience with the Einhell brand other than shop tools like this bench sander. I also have the scroll saw, and I have used the Einhell thickness planer. They're okay tools. They have plenty of power. Now, to get them to be precise, you kind of need to know how to use them, and sometimes you do have to manually use a square to make sure they're precise, because the measuring stuff like this is a bit hard to read. But power-wise and functionality-wise, they're fine. I can't say too much about the dust extraction systems on the Einhell or the safety guards. I've pretty much taken all the safety guards off of the bench sander and scroll saw that I have, just because I think it's safer, for me anyway, to run it without the safety guards, but you should leave the safety guards on. So the specs for this are, hold on. So it's an 150 millimeter disc. It's 100 by 915 millimeter belt, and the motor is turning at 1450 RPM, and the belt is going at 276 meters per minute. It is a 375 watt motor and it's 16 kilograms, so nice and heavy. It doesn't, well, it does move, but like you can push on it quite a lot and it won't flip over. I built this stand. This was the first stand I built, so it's not the best stand, but it does the trick. I have it screwed to the beam there, and I just drilled a hole for the Allen key and put 2 screws in for the wrench. The wrench is for the wrench is for adjusting this, because this flips up. I will show that later in the video. And the Allen key is for tightening this sanding disc when it comes loose. So this sanding table does tip to 45 degrees. How accurate it is, I don't know, but it does tip. And also you can change it so that rather than having the table for the disc, you can put it, hold on, you can put it in this hole here and have it for the belt when it's flipped up. The cord is long enough, really. This is how long it is. And the switch is right here. It's easy to access, although you really have to push it to get it to turn on. There is supposed to be a guard down here. I'll get that, hold on. So this is the guard for down here. And it does have a little dust port if you want to hook your vacuum up to it. But the thing is, if you have this on, you have to take out these 4 screws. And they aren't short screws every single time you want to change the pad. So that's why it's not on. There's also this thing to go in the table. Like that. And then you can angle it to 60 degrees each way. Like that. It does wiggle a bit. But you can just put some tape around this and it won't wiggle anymore. And it is plastic, in case you're wondering. So without this guard down here on, although you should leave it on, you just still a bit tricky, but you just pull it off like that. It is a Velcro plate. And this guard back here, at first I thought I could take, I'll show you, this piece of plastic off, but then I realized, see how it's kinda lower than the pad here and higher than the pad here? That's so that you don't put wood, like if you're pulling a piece of wood across the table, you don't push it here, because if you do, it'll flip it up. So when it comes to the belt part, this is your belt tensioner. Just like that, and then you tension your belt by pulling it back. This is the adjuster. Now, this was a bit, what's the word? A bit confusing, because at first I thought the further you screw it, the more centered the belt will be. But this actually, if you screw it one way, pulls the belt this way, and if you screw it the other way, it pushes the belt that way. Why you'd want that, I have no idea, but make sure that it's in the middle, or otherwise this belt will wander over and chew the metal plating inside out. So you want to make sure that it's running directly in the middle of the two discs, the two drums on either end. And there is a dust port under here. I'll flip this up to show you. Now when it comes to changing this belt, I'm not going to go into that because I have never changed it, and the day I attempted to change it, it kind of seemed like you had to take the whole thing apart just to change the belt. So either I'm missing something, or don't ever plan on changing this belt more than once a year. So it goes up like that. Just the two bolts in here. Hold on. I'll just put you a little higher. There we go. So yeah, the two bolts down in here, and it flips up, or you can flip it down if you want. Have it on an angle, whatever. And then to take this table out, just undo this bolt. But I'll do that after I show you the disc. So, this is a very aggressive sander. I have 80 grit paper on here. It probably wouldn't be as aggressive with 120 or 180, but I have 80 grit on here because I like to like round corners and such with this. So I'm gonna show you how fast it will sand with this 18mm plywood. see. And that was real time, by the way. Let me get something else. Yeah, this will do. So this is softwood of some description. I think it's about 20 millimeters thick. Of course, it does spew the dust everywhere, but it does work very nicely. Then if you want to do, like, go along the edge of something, so it does work. This is what it looked like before. But it does take a bit of practice because you kind of have to angle it like this. Because you can't hold it directly against the disc. So now I will demonstrate the belt part. Hold on. So as you can see, I've set the belt vertically and I put the table on. Just so you know, this is an 80 grit belt and it's the original belt that came with the bench sander, because I've never bothered replacing it because one, I can't really find for a decent price replacement belts, and also changing the belt is a bit of a task. Just so you know, the 100 millimeter width, yeah, it can't be more than 100 millimeter, but if you only have like 95, doesn't matter. But the length, it's 915 is what this is rated for. I bought a 910 millimeter in diameter belt, or it might have been a 900 millimeter belt, and you may think that half a centimeter or 15 millimeters, whichever one it was, what doesn't really matter, because like you have a lot of you have quite a bit of slack up here. Of course you can't see. But it would not fit, like it just would not go on the drums. So make sure you buy the correct paper. So now I will show you how fast this sands. And there is a dust port right in the back here. So this is the same piece as before. So it doesn't sand quite as fast as this, but don't forget this is a fresh disc. So now I will attempt to do the same thing to this corner with the piece of plywood. Yeah, it's this one I just did, I think. But as you can see, it took a lot longer. But it does work, and if you have like a long piece that you want to flatten, this does work. Like if you have something only that long and you want to flatten it or just sand it, this works well. Power wise, as I said, this has plenty of power. Like it's very hard to stall it. Like I think only once I stalled it and I was pushing really, really hard. So I put the old pad back on. This pad is very old. So I'm gonna take the corner off again, and I'm gonna push pretty much as hard as I can, and we'll see how well it does. So it's a very powerful sander. So I like this sander. It is a bit wonky when it comes to the precision and also the dust guards and such. But for the most part, it's a nice sander. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.